One. Hi. I'm Mike Morales. You are watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our platforms. I'm sitting here in the heartbeat of Southern California in the San Gabriel Valley. That gentleman out there is.
Rick Levy in the highlands of San Diego.
You can tell that I grew up in Southern California and I grew up watching the news. You were younger. You probably can't remember this guy's name.
And I was in Maine.
Jerry Dunphy. That's right. You were in Maine. There was a broadcaster, a TV well, George Putnam is a famous guy. Jerry Dunphy, who was an anchorman at KNXT and then KABC there in Southern California. And he would say, from the desert to the sea to all of Southern California, good evening. So here we are, Mike Morales, and I'm excited because we are dissecting, Rick and I are dissecting and talking about Casa Mexico. That's cool, the way they painted that top. The topper there says Anejo.
Yeah, it's on the Reposado and the silver as well, but it's harder to see on those. It really stands out on this one.
Well, I love the way you found that on the bottle. I never even noticed that they have. I saw the agave. I thought this was beautiful because this is a rebranded version. Some of you who have been drinking this brand for a long time probably don't have this bottle yet, or maybe you do. But Rick brought it up to me. He says, if you look at the bottom, I said, what is it, a mandala? He goes, no. He says, this is a piña. This is a piña without pencas on it. And so when you look, it kind of gives, if you look at it, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, it gives this 3D effect that you're looking at an agave, and at the same time you're looking at a piña without the pencas, without the leaves. And it's beautiful rebranding. It's simple, it's clean, and it's still stylish. It's still really cool. And of course the foil label for those of you guys who,
and the square bottle, really kind of
it's not
design.
When Alex and I were still doing reviews just on our own before we had all the TJs, I used to like to say this had a great hand feel. And this was before, conglomerates went and started swallowing up brands and then rebottling them to make them look like they're whiskeys. And I miss a good hand feel, and I think bartenders miss that too, because this is a great pouring bottle,
Yeah, and there's these great facets in here where you can get a nice grip. It's not going to slip if you're grabbing it fast.
Yeah, well, because like when we all go back to bars, even though you're watching this in 2021, we're filming this in 2020, and we're still like sequestered in place, wearing masks and things like that. But anyway, we've played with our timeline here so many times. But anyway, we nominated the Blanco and the Reposado as brand of promise. This is the Anejo. What do we know about the ins and outs of this Anejo? Do we have any information on this?
Yeah, so I'm finding something here that says the aging process exceeds over 2.5 years.
What? That's not what the website says.
Yeah, I found that in a write-up. I would imagine it's from POS or the maker on the Old Town Tequila site.
On
the website, they're saying it's 12 months in New American White Oak.
Yeah.
The repo was 6 months in New American White Oak.
I'm going to go with their website.
Yeah.
Online retailers are notorious. And that goes for local online retailers to big box online retailers. They're notorious for not updating their websites. They have so many brands.
And look at this color. This is not a 2.5 year.
No, it's not.
Color, right?
Yeah, It's not. You and I have had enough of these añejos to know if it's 2.5, 3 years. We question when something says one thing and you look at the color and it says something else. The last time you and I did a review, we saw the Repo and the Anejo were virtually almost the same color. So, this one, there's that gradual, if you put them side by side, there's a gradual progression of coloring. which I'm going to go with the website. I'm going to go with what the website says. 12 months. If it goes over, that's okay because it's still an añejo until it reaches 3 years. So, although I wonder if they have an extra añejo and what it would taste like. Again,
wow, we'll have to taste this one first.
Yeah.
So we're back to the synthetic cork.
We're back to the synthetic. I'm not exactly sure what the point was on that. I'm using a Glencairn for this one. And again, take a look. This is a pale gold color, and I think the Repo, I would say it was a pale straw.
Wow.
Rick is using his handy dandy jarrito. By the way, for those of you who are watching and want to know where you can get your jarrito, just go to our website, tequilaaficionado.com, and there's a link that will take you directly to where you can purchase your own jarrito and stylized jarrito and even etched jarrito. We, however, have no budget, so we have the plain ones, and that's okay with me. So,
nice.
you was
I got the little.
Was that tingle? A tingle with the hair on the back of your neck?
Yeah.
Again, the legs and tears are clean. They're pure. They're not clinging to the glass, but they're not streaming down either. It's just a nice, smooth. Nice crown of a nice crown of tears, and then sheeting down nice, and it's not thick and rich. It's just that's just beautiful, man.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Wow. I'm convinced that they're not using any. We were talking earlier on one of the other expressions on the use of additives. There's nothing going on with this brand. It's just all natural. More wood notes. I like this one.
Yeah, it's coming out more here. Definitely more of the oak. The you might have picked up a tiny bit of caramel on the Reposado. It's coming out more here. More of like baking spice.
Yes. And even in the center, I'm still getting agave. The agave is not gone away.
It's not gone, and even a little bit of the citrus.
Yeah, it's almost like it came back because I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it in the Reposado. For some reason, they were muted a little bit. But right now, I'm getting it back. Right in the center. Maybe I gotta stop using the wide mouth jarrito.
I was wondering. Maybe it's the width of the mouth on the.
Could be. It could be. I'm gonna. The next time you and I are together, I'm gonna use the other. I have a prototype of that's got the one with the heavier.
You gotta wash your dishes between shows.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. Yeah, I gotta wash dishes. Unless of course. One of the things that we tell people, and I've talked about this before, if you're not sure about the additives, don't wash your glasses. Let them sit there overnight and then pick them up the next morning, right? Rick does that too.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll pick up things that you don't normally get when you're in the middle of a tasting. And sometimes then it's either natural or it's, it's clingy and perfumey and vibrant, like there's still liquid in it. And that'll give you that's some of the telltale signs. I think if you let this overnight, you'd be lucky if you caught anything off the glass because it would just dissipate. Yeah.
The angels would take it overnight.
The angels would take it away. Hey, speaking of that, let's join the angels, shall we?
Yeah, I'll buy it.
Oh my God!
Great warmth on the intake. Those kind of more buttery, oaky flavors.
Thank you. Keep talking. Keep talking. That it's almost a romantic. The flavor profile on this is just you fall in love with it.
Yeah.
Wow, man. Buttery. That's a good. Silky is another one that I like.
Yeah.
Although you did use the word supple when talking about the
On the
Blanco.
Blanco, yeah. Maybe maybe the Blanco is first base and the Repo's second, and now we're rounding third.
I don't know, man. It's a home run.
If they have an XA, then Mario Lopez is just going to come to your house.
Yeah, I know. It's Mario's dimples. Hey, wow, this is I love this flavor profile.
I love it. Oh, that's just gorgeous.
That when we talk about harkening back, we did say this is an old school tequila. It will take you back to when the pricing was, where it needed to be. The flavor profile is right where you wanted it. And
it's not trying to be over oaky. It's not trying to be overly sweet. It's not trying to be, a lot of things where, profiles have diverged and they're trying to do all of these different things, to be distinctive in a different way. This is distinctive in how traditional it is.
Yes. Thank you. I know I call it old school, but it's a traditional style tequila. And I'm digging it. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, I know that some of you watching and listening probably have an aversion to a celebrity-owned brand. Don't avoid this one, okay? Don't do it. You'll be sorry. You gotta be open and try everything. And yeah, it's got Mario Lopez. Yeah, it's got Oscar De La Hoya. If you grew up, if you're a big boxing fan like I was, Oscar is probably one of the last of the greatest boxers, before the Mike Tyson era, where everybody just came out and slugged it out. He was a boxer, he's an Olympic gold medalist, for God's sake. So, these guys, but they're I think they're both LA guys. They have a family. If you read their website, they have a very similar family background where they get together on the weekends and bring tequila to the family, and they cook together and drink together, and I think Mario had this tequila at his wedding, which is how he learned about it, and they went through like 120 bottles.
Wow.
So, yeah, I know, but that's just lightweight drinking. We go through that. I mean, you have over that. You're just in your current open bar. I think Mario's just a lightweight. So. Anyway, wow, that's beautiful.
Oh,
now
on all of these, the nose is really, it's all great.
It's everything.
I don't know if you've been watching me while Mike is expounding on the virtues here. I'm just spending all my time with my nose in the glass because it's just so gorgeous.
And you get everything now. Now I'm getting the baking spices. Now that it's opening up, I'm revisiting the citrus that I got on the Blanco that I didn't get in the Repo. There's a hint of cinnamon. I think you talked about the caramel. You got a little bit of that in the Reposado. It's more pronounced on the Anejo. Again, these are supposedly virgin American oak barrels, so there's no whiskey aftertaste. And not that those are bad either, but I like whoever's doing their barrel management really is bringing forth the agave, and that was the whole idea, I think. Which, the old style Espolón we were talking about earlier, the old Cazadores, before Bacardi bought it, Centinela and their, Cabrito, all the really tried and true tequilas that families grew up with. This is one of them. This is for the new family dynamics. I think it's really. I'm impressed.
And there's other añejos that we've talked about before where we say, oh yeah, this would be a great way to convert your whiskey friends and bring them over to it. And it's like, no, this one is for the tequila aficionados right here.
Yeah. In fact, if you grew up really enjoying the old school Don Julio before Diageo bought it, when Don Julio was still alive. Right here. I'm telling you, this is whoever whoever Don Bucio, I believe is how you pronounce his name, or Buccio. I'm going to go Italian or Spanish. Okay, so whichever is the original brand owner, and then he brought on board his two partners. He really went to the right place, the right source.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, here we go. Brand of Promise nominee in the Anejo category for 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Casa Mexico. And what did you say the price point was at Zach's place?
Yeah, so it looks like the MSRP is running around 47, and you can get it at Old Town Tequila right now for 40.
What? 40?
$40. Yeah.
That's
they're making this for everybody. You get a great traditional line here, and it's priced so that anybody can have it, and everyone should get it.
There's a brand out there calling themselves the People's Tequila. I think this is the People's Tequila right here. I'll go that far. It's outstanding. It's old school. It really harkens back to a lot of the stuff that Rick and I kind of grew up drinking. That was a reliable flavor profile. Was always you always knew what you're going to get when you bought it. And the thing is, people that grew up drinking even old school Siete Leguas, they become really brand loyal. This is a brand you can get behind and get brand loyal. I mean, I'm talking about generations here. I was talking to Rick.
I'm glad you mentioned Siete Leguas, because that was a brand I was thinking of while we've been having this, in terms of, sort of a reliable traditional profile.
Yeah. Siete Leguas hasn't changed their recipe in forever. In fact, that base recipe has been the basis for some of the best añejos and extra añejos ever. And they do one thing: they do tequila, and they do it right.
And frankly, it's a tequila I use a lot of times as sort of a baseline to sort of compare.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes when you're tasting, it's a lot easier to taste the differences. And when you have something, a solid traditional tequila like Siete Leguas, it's easy. It can sometimes be easier to figure out what has been done differently.
Right. Yeah, or in which direction the brand was headed, and they scored home run.
Yeah.
Wow! Congratulations to Casa Mexico, and thank you to Speakeasy for making it happen. We so appreciate it. But that's our take on Casa Mexico. It is a Brand of Promise nominee across the board for 2021. I'm Mike Morales here in San Gabriel Valley. That gentleman out there is
Rick Levy in Escondido, California.
You have been watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our platforms. Subscribe to us wherever you listen to audio podcasts like Spotify or iTunes. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit the red button unless you're afraid of commitment. Ring that bell, so make sure that every time we upload a video, you get notified. And whatever you do, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely.